Welcome to the Money Answer Show with host Jordan Goodman. Whether you are starting out, deep into your retirement, or somewhere in between, the Money Answer Show has the know-how to help you. Now here's your host, Jordan Goodman.
Welcome to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Canna Campbell. She is the author of a book called The $1,000 Project, and you can find out more at her website, which is SugarMammaTV. Welcome to the Money Answer Show, Canna.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So just give us we're going to get into the $1,000 project in great detail, but just give us a little bit of your life history leading into creating the $1,000 project.
Well, I'm a financial planner. I've been in the industry since I was about 21 years old, and I'm really passionate about financial well-being. And then about 4.5 years ago, after running my business, which is a boutique financial planning practice, I realized there were so many people who just didn't understand the basics of financial literacy, and how could they possibly understand investing if they didn't understand how to save money or how to get out of debt or why they should never get into debt in the first place. So I launched my YouTube channel, SugarMammaTV, about 4.5 years ago to help bridge that gap and how to make financial information fun and interesting and engaging so that people could make great decisions about the way they use money and get a lot of benefit and really sort of set themselves up financially for life.
So let's describe what is the $1,000 project, and then we're going to get into detail about what's in it, but what was the idea behind the $1,000 project?
Well, I was born out of an idea of trying to show people how to be more mindful with money. There are so many opportunities around us to save money, but we save it but then spend it elsewhere. So I wanted people to proactively save money and do something with that money that helped improve their financial health and fitness. So say, for example, you and I go to coffee and I pay for coffee and you budgeted $10 for that coffee. You could put that $10 towards, for example, your investment account or your IRA account or maybe your credit card debt. So what I thought was, okay, we'll take one big goal and we'll break it down into bite-sized mini goals of $1,000 at a time, because for me $1,000 is a lot of money, but it's not unfathomable. I can actually, come up with that money myself over a period of time. So if I just repeat that process over and over again, let's see where this will lead me to.
And you said
so I did $1,000. I did it 32 times in the space of 12 months. Every time I had $1,000, I put it towards one of my financial goals, which was building up a diversified share portfolio.
Okay. So the first step in all this is to create a series of goals. So you write them down. How do you make these goals specific so they're actually actionable?
Well, I just focus on the principle of $1,000. So for me, the only rules that I wanted was the money couldn't come out of my savings and the money couldn't come out of my salary. I had to hustle and make money myself. So what we did was I did lots of extra jobs over the weekend. I decluttered my home. I sold things. I did all sorts of different things to help come up with the money. And I didn't really focus on, other than having the goal, I just got on with it and did it. And it built momentum because every time I had another $1,000, it was addictive. It was this huge rush and incredibly motivating to move on to the next $1,000.
So you say this is not about your salary. This is not about your regular job and getting a salary increase. It's about additional ways of kind of side hustles. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. It's all about hustling. So, and for me at the time when I started the $1,000 project, I was seen as a single mom. I'd just gotten divorced. I had my legal fees, and I was on a very tight budget for myself and my son. So I didn't have the cash flow to be investing like I would previously. So this was a great way of, me leading by example, showing people how to do it, but also making sure I was putting the money towards something that would also educate people, and that was obviously investing.
So how do you set yourself up for success? What is the kind of mechanism that you do to make sure this is going to work?
Well, first of all, I'm huge on having a good, healthy money mindset. So understanding, what is your reason behind investing? For me, building passive income streams is really important because to me that's the true definition of financial freedom. So really spending time understanding the blocks, understanding distractions and triggers, things that would potentially stop me from achieving success so that I can mentally and physically prepare for when those challenges came my way. Next thing was obviously to write short-term goals in the $1,000 at a time and back that up with brainstorming ideas. So things that I could do that I knew I could do that would help come up with the money. So, for example, I knew that if I took my lunch to work, that would help save money. I knew that if I sold some things in my home, like decluttered the home, that would also come up with some money. Selling some clothes, buying secondhand clothes, brand new clothes. Taking extra jobs over the weekend was a good one as well. So I really just wrote down as many ideas, and nothing was off limits. Like anything could be. I was happy to do anything to earn some extra money, and because I knew that it was all going to a really good cause, and it would grow my financial wealth and independence.
And then you say you have to dive right in. Some people probably would be reluctant to actually do it. They might think about it, but not actually do it. How do you kind of go from thinking to action?
Well, that's coming back to that money mindset, going through what the benefits that was going to give me in my life. So when I went through, writing all those blocks, writing all those triggers and potential distractions, I spent a lot of time working on the value system that I was creating for myself by doing this properly. So I knew that it would give me a sense of being in control. It would give me a sense of satisfaction. It would give me a sense of self-worth and pride. As I watched my savings account grow and I watched my investments grow, and would feel really good. And that's where that momentum and that motivation just to keep going every time I hit $1,000 just continued to skyrocket.
And then you say you have to track your progress. So do you carry around a book all day, or how do you actually track the progress towards these $1,000 goals?
Well, through my YouTube channel and through my blog, every time I came up with $1,000, I'd always share it with my audience, let them know what I had done, how I'd come up with the money, and I would, track the income. So, for example, in Australia, the average share yields around 5%. So for me, every $1,000 I made represented $50 a year for the rest of my life in growing passive income streams. So I would obviously share it. When you share it out there and, in the big wide world, it really does make you accountable because everyone's watching and looking. I'd watch it grow. So the portfolio, since starting it, I've invested $94,000, and it has a passive income of just under $5,000 a year.
Tell us about the community a bit and how people can join that community and how they support each other, and tell me, how you interact with that community.
Well, I'm really interactive on YouTube. Whenever people, comment, it's me that comments back to them. I also have, a private membership group through Facebook called the Sugar Tribe. And whenever someone tags, if you're following me and you tag me in your post around the $1,000 project, I'll follow you back and I'll also comment. So I have seen people do the $1,000 project to pay for IVF, to pay off their home, to pay off their student debt, pay off car loans, to help pay for their first home. Every time they do something and they take a picture and put it on Instagram, I'm watching. I can see what they're doing, and I'm following along with them, like cheering along the way, because, sometimes people can be quite judgmental when it comes to money, but if you've got someone saying, yep, doing a great job, keep going, you're going to keep going, and you're going to feel inspired to keep, making that person proud, and also you inspire other people, which is really important.
So it's good to have accountability partners as well to make sure that you do what you say you're going to do and be encouraged,
Absolutely.
Not just do this on your own.
Yes, absolutely.
So just tell us exactly how, if people wanted to join that group, they go to SugarMamma.tv. Exactly how would they do that?
Well, first of all, I recommend grabbing a copy of the book. It's you can get it. I think it's actually on sale at the moment through the Book Depository, because my next book's just about to come out. And grab a copy of the book, because I explain how to do it, and I give you heaps of ideas. And also, there are lots of tricks to make sure you do it really efficiently, like you have a separate savings account, you nickname it the $1,000 project. There's lots of different things going on that I recommend you do for this. So I explain everything in my book. Then obviously make sure you subscribe to my channel and the website, and you can contact me directly. And it's not like there's a membership program that you have to join or anything like that. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just you can pick up the $1,000 project for short-term financial goals as well as long-term financial goals. It's completely up to you.
You say that anybody can do this, but What kind of mental attitude do you have to have and discipline to actually put this into effect and make it work?
Well, you have to be motivated. You have to see this is all worth it. So it's got to be a powerful goal. It can't be just a goal that you don't really feel that passionate about. It has to be something meaningful, and that's really important. And that, so that you connect to that goal. Because if it's a goal that really excites you, like it's a holiday that's coming up you're saving for, you're more inclined to make it actually happen because it feels realistic and doable.
So your main goal was to build an investment portfolio. What are some other goals that people have had that have been successful in motivating them to do this project?
Well, as I said, people have done it to pay for their People have done it to pay for their first home. People have done it to get out of student debt, credit card debt, help pay for their children's education. The list is endless. I mean, I've had letters from people around the world, from Ireland to Iceland. They've used it also to help and find some money to invest in their business, where they didn't have the cash flow in the business to help pay for for marketing or for new equipment, and they've done the $1,000 project to help pay for that, and new businesses have evolved from doing that. It's really quite incredible what people have achieved.
Very good. We're going to take a break. This is Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Canna Campbell. She is the founder of what's called the $1,000 Project, based in Australia, but it's a worldwide phenomenon. You can find out more at her website, which is SugarMamma.tv. We'll be back after this.
You've been listening to The Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to The Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Canna Campbell. She is known as the Sugar Mama at SugarMamma.tv. Her book is called The $1,000 Project. She's based in Australia. Welcome back to the show, Canna.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So you say there are various guidelines to make this $1,000 project work. The first one is to be mindful with your money. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so being proactive, like when you have an opportunity to, say, earn some extra money by selling something or doing some weekend work, instead of just putting that into your wallet or you'll spend it, or go buy something online, put that into a separate savings account so it really counts. So that extra $100 you earned over the weekend gets put into your $1,000 project account, and it stays there until you hit your $1,000 limit, and then you do something with that money. Now, also on that note, I did $1,000 as my limit, because to me that was a good goal. It was enough to stretch myself, but not overwhelm me. But I have plenty of people that follow me that have the 100-pound project or the $500 project. Work with a number that's right for you, and make sure that your savings account is nicknamed either something around the name of the goal, such as my, holiday savings goal or my student debt savings goal or my $1,000 project goal, so that every time you log into your internet banking and you see your accounts, you're reminded as to what they're for.
The next guideline is to work within your real life. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so, look at where you stand financially, and I'm not recommending people go and save $1 million or anything excessive like that. Work with what you think is achievable and doable so that you don't, procrastinate, you don't get put off, you don't get disheartened. You want to keep going.
And then you say the next thing is consistency is queen. What do you mean by consistency?
Well, continuously keep going. Like, once you've hit $1,000, don't go, oh, wow, that was great, I'm going to stop now. Keep going. This is the whole thing, is it builds momentum. It's like a habit. Like, we don't think about brushing our teeth in the morning, we just do it. So if you're constantly, looking for ideas to help earn some extra money, save some extra money, hustle some extra money, get into that regular habit of the moment you do that, you consistently and proactively transfer that money into that separate savings account, so that you don't get tempted to spend it.
And then you say to make your own rules. What are some of the rules you made up on your own?
Well, for me, I really wanted to prove to people that you can hustle extra money outside of your normal, 9-to-5 job. So for me, I didn't want to touch any money out of my savings, and that was fine because I didn't really have any savings at the time because I'd just gone through my divorce. and I didn't want anything to come out of my salary because I wanted to prove to people, I didn't want people to say, oh, well, you must earn a good salary if you afforded to do that. I wanted to say, no, I did this outside of my salary. So the other, obviously, things, as I mentioned, having that separate savings account proactively, the moment, like, say, for example, I sold something on, we had Gumtree here in Australia, which is like your Craigslist. That money, the next day I would deposit that money into the bank account. So really making sure I never spent that money. It was completely dedicated towards the $1,000 project, and always keeping an open mindset as to what I could do. And I also always told people what I was doing, and the amount of people that gave me ideas to help come up with extra money was amazing. And, it's just spread. For example, I didn't realize I could rent my house out on Airbnb over the Christmas period, and I was able to get quite a bit of money from doing that. And it's only because I had the conversation with someone telling them what my financial goal was and what I was trying to achieve, they started giving me other ideas, and then, word spread, and other people would give me ideas, and I'd give ideas back. It became this, incredible movement.
So again, it's that community that really supported you. You support them, and then they give you ideas as well, so it works both ways.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been incredible to be, being a part of this and watching it grow and watching it really help people as well.
How big is the community now? How many people are in it, roughly?
Well, I have 117,000 people following me on YouTube. In Australia, I think I've sold 12,000 copies of the $1,000 project book within the first 12 months of it being published, and this is my first book. I have about 35,000, I think, people following me on Instagram, of which people, obviously tag me, and I think I have about 5,000 people I'm following doing the $1,000 project.
Excellent. All right, well, let's get right into it. You have a chapter called Earn It, to be creative. Let's get into some of the ideas you have for, I guess you'd call them side hustles. The first one is to sell unwanted items. So how do you do that? You just can't sell them off your front lawn. How do you sell them in a broader way?
The easiest way to sell things, and I think also the safest way to sell things, is actually online, because then you can post those items out to people rather than having to necessarily meet them face to face. So, there are a lot of the Facebook buy, sell, swap groups, eBay, as I said, we've got Gumtree here, which is your equivalent of Craigslist. There are new platforms to sell secondhand goods all the time. And this was really great for me because I'm very much a minimalist. Decluttering my house was cathartic. It made it so much tidier, so much cleaner, so much more organized. So this was a great way of, really streamlining my life, making it more efficient and organized, but also making some really good cash on the side.
And then the next thing is to do dog walk. I guess pet sitting is a general category. Are there websites, or how do you find people who want their pets to be sit or walked?
Well, I personally don't do the dog walking, but I have a lot of people who follow me who do this. They're animal lovers themselves, and either have a pet and they love having the pet there as for comfort and to keep their animal sort of in good company, or they, as I said, they love animals themselves. But for whatever reason they can't have one of their own where they live, so they'll walk dogs or house sit. A couple of ways of best doing this is obviously advertising online in your local community, on community notice boards. But another great way is doing a letterbox drop, where people around your area, they might have a dog, or and you can just drop a little note into their letterbox saying, "Hi, I'm available for dog walking. This is how much I charge per hour. Here's my number. You can contact me this way." That's a really great way. It's funny, I actually just recently hired a dog walker myself who did a letterbox drop, and that was a fantastic investment for me. And
then you say babysitting is also a way to, you have to have some training or some knowledge on how to handle kids, yes?
Well, yes, you do, but it really depends. I have a 6-year-old, and I have someone who occasionally helps me out, and she's from my community. I know exactly where she lives. I've met her parents. I'm often around, so I know what's going on, and you sort of slowly build up trust. But of course, you do all the responsible things like a police check. and so that you can tell people, that you're qualified. And obviously, looking after a newborn baby is a bit different to like looking after a 6 and 7-year-old child. But the great thing about babysitting work is it's a double savings because you've got, you're not going out spending money in restaurants and bars, and you're earning money at the same time. So, instead of going out and spending, say, $50 on drinks and socializing, you're actually earning $50. So it's a double benefit.
And then tutoring, what kind of things is there demand for in tutoring?
Well, everything. There are actually teenagers in my local area that teach children, 6-year-olds, like how to do math and how to, speak other languages, and just even help with like homework and reading and writing skills. So many different things you can do for tutoring, and then obviously all the way up to university, helping people get through college and get good grades. It's really, the sky's the limit.
And then you said to take on weekend work. What are some things you can do on a part-time basis on weekends?
Anything from like waiting on tables to working behind bars, to doing helping out at events. All sorts of different things you can do. I know for myself, when I was at university, I worked behind a bar and I earned great tips. That was really good money to me at the time, and it didn't interfere, because on a weekend it didn't interfere with my studies.
How about photography? What kind of demand is there for photography?
Photography is a really interesting one because, so many brands are happy to buy, through websites such as Shutterstock, where you've got you've happened to manage to capture a really beautiful moment or something really quite incredible, even with your iPhone. And they'll buy that from you, and they'll give you a certain fee or a percentage of the image you sell, like per download. So there are so many different things you can do. And also another great one, which we have here, is market research. Brands and companies will pay to get your opinion on certain products and services and advertising material before they go to market, and or when they're in the development stage.
Very good. How about renting out your room on Airbnb or something like that? Is that successful for you?
Oh, that has been very successful in doing that, to the point where, I've even tag teamed with friends. So my friend would rent his place out and he'd stay with us, and then we would swap and do it vice versa, so that we weren't having to pay for accommodation in renting our place out. It worked really well. And also timing that with like going on holidays. I have friends who do the $1,000 projects, and they say they've got a family holiday. They'll make sure that they rent their house out on Airbnb whilst they're away, because it helps them earn some money whilst they're on holiday, relaxing, spending money.
Very good. We're going to take another break. This is Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Canna Campbell. Her book is called The $1,000 Project, and you can find out more at SugarMamma.tv. We'll be back after this.
You've been listening to The Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to The Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Canna Campbell. She is the author of a book called The $1,000 Project. You can find out more about it in her own community at SugarMamma.tv. Welcome back to the show, Canna.
Thank you for having me.
So we were talking about different ways of kind of side hustles that you can earn some decent money. You said offer experiences to tourists. What do you mean by that?
Yes, you could become a host in your own city, where you show people around, you explain to them the history of your area, what makes your town really unique, take them to the well-known, secret hidden treasures, where the locals like to go. You get to really give them a much more in-depth experience than you would of a, typical tourist in a town. And you can charge by the hour or have a flat fee. I actually have a friend who does this for every single weekend, where he looks after VIPs that fly into town, and it takes them to all the very special spots around Sydney. It's a fantastic side hustle he's picked up.
Great. You say you can rent your car out. Is that a safe thing? So somebody's not going to crash your car?
You do have to make sure that everyone's insured, there's a lot of platforms that actually facilitate that. You don't need to worry about that. But absolutely, you can rent your car out per day and get money, and they have to obviously keep it in good condition, return it clean, return it with petrol. But it's great for particularly tourists who are in town for the day or for the week and want to rent a special car, or don't want to necessarily pay the market rate of through like a traditional rental company.
And then you can say you can start a rental business. What are things that people have that people are willing to pay rent for?
Oh, this has been an amazing thing. So you can rent out anything from your kids' toys and baby equipment, like so prams and cots and car capsules, to even girls I've met who rent out their clothes and their accessories. So if you've got a beautiful designer handbag, you can actually rent that out as well. It's amazing. It's a whole other market. And I have girlfriends who actually will go and happily rent clothes, and I've even rented clothes as well for special occasions where I didn't really want to go and buy a whole brand new dress for one party. So that was a waste of money. I was able just to rent something for the evening and send it back, and I saved hundreds of dollars. It was really great.
And then you say you can provide a selling website service. What do you mean by that?
Well, you can sell things online. So there's heaps of buy-sell swap face groups online. So you can actually, there's one great one in Australia called High End, which actually international people have been joining as well. And you just upload, just like you would on eBay, upload your items that you want to sell.
And you say
the great thing about it is there's no selling fees.
You say you can deliver food. What's involved with that?
Oh, I met this amazing woman, and she it was for her side hustle for the $1,000 project. She was cleaning homes, and she discovered that some of the people she was cleaning homes for were really time poor and were struggling to sort of eat a healthy, nutritious meal. So she approached them and said, "Look, well, why don't one day a week I make your dinner for you?" So the day she would clean the house for them, she'd also cook their dinner for them, so that not only would they come home to a clean, tidy house, but it'll also be a healthy, nutritious meal in the oven ready to go for them. And from there, that sort of has grown, and she's cooking more than one meal a night. I think she's cooking multiple meals, and she's a really great cook. So, and it's working out really well for her.
You say people can do proofreading work. Is that something you can do anywhere in the world or online?
Yes, yeah, this is a great one. This and dictation is a really interesting one. So you can do this from home online, and you can do it anywhere in the world. And no one can pick up their own grammatical and spelling mistakes, or not all of them. So if you've got a great eye for detail and you have a really good grasp of the correct grammar, you can actually do proofreading work. And I also met someone who did dictation for the police force because the reports were quite gruesome of what she had to sort of report. She was paid really well to do that dictation work.
So you get paid extra when it's particularly gruesome, I suppose, huh?
Yeah. Quite heavy stuff, but she said it's great, and she was able to do it whilst her kids slept at night time. It didn't interfere with her life, and it was good money.
I see, okay. You say you can also get paid to test apps. How is that working?
Yes, I've done this as well. This was really fun and really interesting. I went into an office, and they gave me a prototype, and I had to play around with it, and they just watched me to see how I intuitively used it, and then I gave them my feedback, and I gave them a few ideas I thought would be good to help make it better. It took about, I think, 40 to 50 minutes, and I was paid, I think, $150 or something close to it. It was great. So you've got to go, with those types of jobs, you have to look for them online. So, look up market research jobs in my local area, and make sure that obviously they're all registered properly and that the payment is worth your time. You don't want to be doing, an hour's job for like a $2 coupon or something ridiculous like that. Make sure it's worthwhile. But there are lots and lots of new market research companies that are really good that are popping up all the time. And that also includes taste testing of foods and also medical research.
Great. You say you can also start blogs or write for other people's blogs or websites. How do you find people who want that kind of writing?
Look, this one is a great one, but it does take a bit of time, and you've got to be a bit patient. But if you can build up a good following, and you're a good writer, and you utilize social media in the correct way, you can build a strong following where, brands will eventually over time look at sponsoring your content, getting you to write for them, go and maybe, I have friends who have been paid to go and visit restaurants and write up about the restaurant, or go to visit hotels and give feedback and write a blog post about a particular hotel. There's so many different things, and including things like reviewing products and services, reviewing certain beauty products, reviewing certain electronical equipment. Again, the sky is the limit. The world has really changed from when our parents and grandparents, where, you became an accountant and worked 9 to 5. The world is so much more dynamic with so many more opportunities now. It's a great time.
And you say you can cook, so that must be a local thing if you're going to be cooking for somebody, but how do you find those kind of jobs?
Well, a lot of these people who have done the cooking things have just done it out on their own merit. So they've started up their own business where, they make nutritious meals for families. Like they'll make a big batch of like lasagna or, like really healthy sort of nutritious meals that can go straight into an oven. And they've just done advertising, online or through letterbox drops or through, community notice boards to say, this is how much we charge for these meals. We can drop them off to your house every Monday or every Sunday. They freeze for this much period of time. And it's really, some really incredible businesses have grown out of that.
Terrific. So there's so many different ways to do this. How do you pick which one is most worth your time that you're going to focus on?
Well, you really need to sit down and look at, what's your lifestyle like? For me, I would love to do them all, but I knew that wasn't realistic, and that would also impact my, my life with my son. So for example, when my son was with his father, that's when I would work on the weekends. If he was with me, I wouldn't do those things. So you need to look at, what's your time, what's worth in your investment of time as well. Obviously doing a 5-hour job to be paid a small amount of money may not be worth it. You might be better off saying, no, I won't do that. I'll try and find something better. So look with what your responsibilities are, your commitments are, and because the whole point about a $1,000 project is it's fun. You don't punish yourself. You don't, deprive yourself. You go out and do things that you actually enjoy. And, people, you want to be passionate about doing this so that it doesn't feel like a job, and you're really excited about being paid because, it's going towards something that's really meaningful for you.
So part of it is earning more money in the ways we just talked about, and the other part is cutting your expenses. You talk about looking after pennies, and the pounds will look after themselves. So what do you mean by that?
Well, looking at the little bits of cutbacks you can make here and there. When I first, when I went through my divorce, I had to go through my budget, and little cutbacks here and there really added up. As I said, things like taking my lunch to work saved me a lot of money. Trying to get the most out of my food plan so that, I wasn't wasting money on food that was uneaten. I was buying healthy, nutritious food that was cost-effective. I was, if there was food left over, instead of it going in the bin or feeding it to my dogs, that could sometimes be the contents for a chicken sandwich the next day for lunch. Really looking at mindfully at the way that I used money. I used money and saved money. Even I had people, I tried to do this myself, but it didn't quite work out, but make my own cleaning products. A lot of people have been talking about that and sharing how they've been doing that with me. So, cutting off $10 a week over the course of a year is, $520. That's a lot of money. And if you're always open, and this is why I talk about this importance of this money mindset, you'll find, as you go through the process, you'll find more ways of saving money each time you do this.
Yeah. So let's go into some of the ways. Another one is to research before you head to the store or shop online. So it's like comparing prices. Is that what you mean by researching that way?
Well, it's about, for the shopping online, it's more about seeing your basket add up. When we go to a supermarket, unless you have walking around with a calculator, you don't really know what your total bill is going to be until you go to the checkout. And sometimes it can be a little bit embarrassing saying, oh gosh, I've gone over my budget, I'll have to send things back. Most people sort of grin and bear it and just, swipe their credit card, and, this is how people get into credit card debt. When you shop online, obviously you can see where is cheaper, but you can also just, discard a few things when you go to checkout at the end without any embarrassment.
Indeed. Okay. We're going to take another break. We're getting a lot of great ideas here. My guest this hour is Canna Campbell. Her book is called The $1,000 Project, and you can find out more at her website, which is SugarMamma.tv. We'll be back after this.
You've been listening to The Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to The Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Canna Campbell. She's an Australian-based sugar mama. Her website is SugarMamma.tv, and her book is called The $1,000 Project. Welcome back to the show, Canna.
Great to be speaking with you guys.
So we're going through various ways to cut your expenses. You talk about using loyalty programs. How can you cut your expenses doing those?
This is a great one, and I'm amazed at the amount of people that don't bother with this. But, for example, I always fly with our domestic carrier, Qantas Airlines, and I have saved thousands, if not probably on average $10,000 a year on flying with my loyalty program, because every time I fly with them, I earn points. And those points really quickly add up, especially when you use all the other partner programs that they're associated with. And I've used it to pay for our trips overseas, or our trips for weekends away where we've had to catch a plane, or even upgrades on flights, because each upgrade is worth a couple of $1,000s at least. So this is a really great way of cutting, for when I do need to spend money on those personal expenses, helping cut down the cost of the actual flights is a big money-saving ticket for me.
You say to look for quality over quantity. How do you save money buying quality?
This is a really important one. It's probably the heart of what I talk about, and that is, and it particularly encompasses, zero waste and being kind to the environment. But, if you go and buy a great coat, a really well-made coat, yes, it might cost you a little bit more, but over the long run, when you're still wearing it 5, 10, 15 years further down the track, and especially a really great piece that you absolutely love and looks fantastic on you, you're going to save so much money in your cost per wear than buying a new jacket or coat every year or every other year. And also, as we all now know, the amount of resources that is used to make just one item of clothing with water and energy and pollution, it's so much more responsible to buy things that are sort of ethically made but really high quality so that they last a really long time, and you don't have to replace them all the time, because that's expensive.
In the food area, you talk about food co-ops and growing your own herbs. Is that something a lot of people could do?
Yes, that's so easy to do. And a lot of the herbs, you don't necessarily need to buy them as a seedling. You can buy them already partly grown from your local hardware store or garden shop. But it's also a really nice thing to do together as a family. And in Australia, food is really expensive. But it's a way of actually, so many times, you'll be making a sauce and you only need a couple of sprigs of rosemary or oregano or, certain herb. You have to go to the shops and buy, a $3 bunch where you only really needed a few little, small amount. It's such a waste of money. But if you can grow your own, not only are you growing it organically, so it's going to have more nutritional value, but you're also saving a lot of money, and you can continuously use that for many other dishes.
So we've talked about the ways to increase your income and the ways to cut your expenses. A big part of your whole plan is giving back as well. So what is the value of giving back once you've achieved this project where you've got these $1,000 goals you're hitting all the time?
Well, every time I really want to do sort of, as I said, lead by example, march to the beat of my own drum. And, for round one of the $1,000 project, I saved and invested $32,000. By the end of the project, that portfolio was making a passive income of around $1,500 a year. Now, I wanted to make people aware that this isn't just about, being frugal and, being tight with money, but also honouring and respecting your community and the people around you and people who are struggling and they're in a certain situation that can't do something for themselves to help them. So for the first year, I donated that money of $1,500 to a charity which is called the Gidget Foundation. It's a charity that supports women with postnatal depression and post-traumatic stress syndrome. So every single year I've given them money to a different charity. So next year I gave it to an orphanage in Indonesia. For round 3, I gave the money to a charity called Rise Up, which helps support families of domestic violence in rehoming families and getting them back on their feet again. So it's, and you don't have to necessarily do that. But, for example, if you're going really well with a $1,000 project and you've saved up a lot of money and it's achieving your goals, every now and again you might decide, okay, well, you know what, this $1,000 I'm going to donate to charity, or I'm going to do something that's going to be help my community in some way. And it doesn't necessarily, like, I gave money, but you don't have to give money, but you could do things like give your time, go and help out, help raise awareness of a certain charity. There's lots of things you can do. Doing charity work, no one ever regrets doing charity work. It's so good for the soul, and it's so good for your own personal growth and development.
Great. And then on the investment side, so how do you invest the money? Do you do it in index funds or individual shares? How do you allocate the money that you're investing?
Such a great question. I do a little bit of everything. I'm really passionate about index ETFs and listed investment companies. I don't really recommend people try and overwhelm themselves by sitting in front of, statements and research reports as to what company to invest in. I really, it's a very complicated job to be picking which stocks. That's what hedge fund traders do and fund managers do, and I'd rather leave that to the experts. So I really rely on using index ETFs because they're so cost effective. So I love all the Vanguard ones; they're fantastic. And listed investment companies, which are more in Australia, but very, very similar to the index ETF, where they buy and hold, industrial companies.
So we have about 2 minutes left. Just to kind of sum the whole thing up, what kind of a difference will it make in people's lives if they do this $1,000 project and kind of follow your example?
It is really huge, the impact it can do, because a $1,000 project evolves with you. You can use it initially to get out of your credit card debt. Then once you've achieved that, it can then evolve with you and help you get out of your student debt. It can then evolve with you and help you save up some emergency money. It can then evolve with you to help save up your deposit for your first home. It can evolve with you to help pay off your mortgage. It can evolve with you to help pay for your retirement and to building passive income. So it continuously evolves with you, and you can stop and start at any time. I always take a little bit of a break between each of my rounds. I'm up to round 4 at the moment, and I take a month or 2 break to just enjoy life. If I happen to hustle up some money when I'm on a break, I'll spend that money on myself or my family and enjoy it guilt-free. And it's fantastic mentally what it does for you, because you actually feel like you're on top of your finances. You're actually being responsible. It's just like when when you go to the gym, even though you don't want to go to the gym, after you leave the gym, you're like, you know what, I didn't want to come here, but I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I moved those weights, got on that treadmill, did that spin class. You feel really good about yourself. You never regret it. And it's exactly the same with money. Or, when we go to a restaurant or we make ourselves a healthy meal, even though we're craving, a burger and hot chips. So it's about, being responsible, raising our bar, stepping up and taking accountability, but it actually feels really good, and we feel it contributes towards our sense of self-worth and growth. So it's not, $1,000 project's not just about financial growth, it's about your personal and spiritual growth as well.
Fantastic. You've been very inspiring to our audience. My guest this hour has been Canna Campbell. Her website that you can find out more about the $1,000 project is SugarMamma.tv. Thanks so much for being on the Money Answer Show, Canna. I think you've inspired a lot of people.
Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Thanks again. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Money Answer Show. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining Jordan Goodman and the Money Answer Show. If you have a question for Jordan, please visit his website at www.moneyanswers.com. And be sure to tune in every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on Voice America Business. See you next week.